All right, welcome in NBA Tip-Off Show here, powered by WagerTalk.com. Got a nice slate of games here tonight in the association. We're going to break a few of these down for you, see if we can't come up with a couple of best bets, a total or two, and we're going to do it, of course, with three of the best here at Wager Talk when it comes to handicapping the association. None better than Mr. Skee Profit in the house. RC, Ronald Cabang, and, of course, RV, Robbie Vino, ready to roll here tonight. And like we do, guys, no better way to start off the NBA tip-off show than hanging with the contrarian gods, seeing what they're up to. And they're out west, I believe, here tonight. They're going to be taking a look at the Atlanta Hawks here, who taking on the Golden State Warriors, who this will be their first game in over a week since the tragic passing of their assistant coach here. But it looks as if a lot of people expecting a big effort out of Golden State. Certainly, I would imagine they will, but will it be enough, Skee? Because the contrarian gods seem to think, man, that's a lot of points to be hanging out there. What are you thinking?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's terrible, what happened to their coach over there in Golden State. And you don't usually see teams with this big of a rest advantage during the regular season. But we have seen it sometimes. And we always talk about when it starts to, get to so many days, is it rest or rust? After a week off, I have to think it's rest, especially with what happened. I don't think these guys were in the gym working on how to fix what was going wrong for them. And for the Warriors, they were the worst defensive rated team the last 5 games before they stopped play. So I think that continues tonight. That may help an Atlanta team who's been struggling a little bit offensively. And Atlanta, they've stepped up in the defense department. They're number 4 defensive rated team their last 5 games. So they're probably in a little bit of a better rhythm offensively, even than Golden State right now. Golden State is also on the front end of a back-to-back. And I just think it's a little bit too many points. Everybody's expecting Golden State to come out and show out because of what happened. But I think there's still going to be a lot of emotions, and I think they'll be rusty. So I'm in line with the contrarian guys today.
It makes sense, Guy. I mean, that's exactly the way I'm going to assume they're looking at this. 6.5. I mean, it's, they certainly didn't take the time off, unfortunately for them. They are RC to be able to work on some things like Skee said here. This is going to be an emotional roller coaster here tonight. I am sure of that in their first game. So what are we thinking here? You think Atlanta plus the 6.5 is the right side?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Skee here. I mean, the whole rest versus rust factor, the Warriors haven't played since the 15th. Then they got to jump straight into a back-to-back. Obviously this first game here, a non-conference game, but they do have a key divisional game tomorrow as well. So potential look ahead as well. To me, when I look at that rest versus rust factor, I forgot what Skee said, but when I looked at it historically, it's been profitable to take the road dogs with a day of rest or less against teams in the regular season with at least 4 days of rest or more. When I look at that, I think it was like a 66% rate over the last 3 or 4 years or so. So it doesn't happen often, but it still does hit at a pretty decent rate. Like I said, like Skee said, I think we do see some rust from the Warriors side, and the Hawks take advantage of it. My only worry from the Hawks side is really their offense. They've stayed under their team total 8 of the last 10 games. But Skee mentioned, how bad that Warriors defense was even before this rust factor that we potentially see today, and also that look ahead as well. So for me, I can only look towards the Hawks as well.
Yeah, it's not like, the tragedy happens and they were playing their best basketball there, Vino. They were struggling to begin with. And listen, prior to the 15th, you'd have been hard-pressed to find anybody on this panel laying 6.5 with the Warriors against anybody. Does anything change with that mindset here in this one?
Yeah, so why do it now, right, Joe? I mean, the sound you hear right now is the people watching the show all running to go bet Golden State, because I'm going to make it unanimous and stick with the contrarian gods here. To the point that all three of you guys made to start this, Golden State finally held a full team practice yesterday. So they've done nothing over the course of the last 8 days. And that's not a slight at them. Obviously, it was tragic what happened just as far as basketball is concerned. Yesterday was the first day they could hold practice. So you have people, it's kind of reminiscent, Joe, years back of how people would bet college football homecoming day. Oh my God, homecoming day, emotion. Got to bet that team, home team, senior day, whatever. Emotion, it's going to wear off at some point. And then the game is going to take place. And you're probably more apt to see a little bit of rustiness out of Golden State. Remember, they were just working Draymond back into the lineup when all this happened. I think they were 1-3 with him back. So it's not like they had any continuity heading into this. I don't know that they have any continuity coming out of it. I do know that, if you want to make a case against the Hawks, listen, they've been blown out their last 2 games. Ronald talked about how bad their offense has been. Here's how bad it's been. I mean, last 7 games, they've scored between 95 and 109 points. And for the Hawks to have a high of 109 is unheard of the last 5 years. No Trae Young, once again, because of the concussion. DeJounte Murray, probably more worried about where he's going to be traded to than play in this game. So you could make some cases against the Hawks, but I think the strongest case is probably that Golden State just isn't fully prepared to play 48 minutes of basketball, and the Hawks can stick closer than 6.5. So I'll go with the contrarian gods and take the 6.5.
All right, well, there you got it. It is a clean sweep with Atlanta tonight, which means they'll probably lose by 30. But that's all right. We got many more games here to talk about coming up, including, this is going to be what a absolute mess this is, as the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right, so we've got a Cleveland Cavaliers team that has been one of the best basketball teams as of late here over the last couple of weeks. We've talked about them here on the show, Skee. We bet them. I mean, they've been absolutely red hot. Now they got to take on the Milwaukee Bucks, who did everything in their power for some reason to make sure that Doc Rivers is going to lead them to the promised land in the playoffs, which is hysterical on so many levels. But listen, it wasn't working. There's only so many times you can throw your coach under the bus before, obviously, ownership had to make a move. Okay, they made the move. I'm not quite sure how any of this results in more defense being played, but maybe you get an inspired effort here tonight with the Bucks laying 6.5, 7. What are you doing with this one?
Yeah, we share the same thoughts about this game, Joe. If the coach was not fired last game, I would be all over Cleveland here in this spot. I mean, they've clearly been playing the better basketball. They've covered 5 straight, very close to top 5 in all the categories that I care about. And they're 7-3 as a road dog this season. I love the way they're playing basketball right now. They are playing defense, the number 1 defensive rated team last 5 games. That's something Milwaukee just does not do, regardless of who's coaching. I see them having trouble to defend the perimeter. And the thing that's holding me up, like you mentioned, Joe, them firing their coach. We see this all the time across all different sports. Usually the players bring an inspired effort in the next game out just to show that, like, hey, it wasn't us, it was the coach. So because of that, I'm conflicted. Like, I don't know what to play in this game. So I hate to tell you guys anything. I guess gun to my head if I'm going to play before they put up the switch.
We're already Swiss flagging your ass.
If I have to play, I'm going to go with the Bucks. But I'm not going to have a play in this game officially.
It's an interesting spot, but it is one, RC, that we have seen. Obviously, getting your coach fired, it should be kumbaya. I mean, I can't imagine Giannis being like, all right, no big deal, we lose. Like, you were the one who pushed him out the door, so you better come with a game and a half here tonight. I can't imagine at home this could be the biggest effort we get from this Milwaukee team we've seen in a while here tonight.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, like, if he wasn't well liked, or I mean, obviously he wasn't, he got pushed out, but obviously if the players didn't like him, this means it should have been a positive to this locker room, in my opinion. And that, like you said, like, I feel like they didn't come out with some energy in this one on both sides of the ball, in my opinion, because all they talked about was how bad their defense is, and now their coach is gone. Maybe they put that effort mostly on the defensive side of the ball to to show that it wasn't them, it wasn't the players, it was the coach and his system and all that stuff. So I don't know. To me, from the side perspective, though, it's really hard to step in front of this Cavs team. I think, like Skee mentioned, they won and covered. They won 8 straight now, and covered 7 of those games, and they've been doing it mostly on that defensive side of the ball. So if in my opinion, if the Bucks are going to focus on the defensive side of the ball, obviously they're going to have a new coach today. Maybe that sloppy offense on their side of the ball. This could be an under type game. I think maybe stay away from the side because we don't know really what to expect from that Bucks team, in my opinion. So to me, under might be a better play than looking at anything from a side perspective.
Oh, all right. There you go. Total, maybe not a bad way to look at this. How about you, Vino? Make it make sense to me. I mean, is it maybe a sell high spot time for Cleveland too? I mean, are they as good as everyone's making them out to seem? What do you think we're going to get here tonight?
Yeah, so the grass was greener on the other side of Mike Budenholzer, right? You fire him to get to Adrian Griffin, to fire him before the All-Star break. I mean, it's crazy. And, just to hear the stuff coming out of there after the firing, to talk about, well, we're not playing good enough defense. I mean, heck, we've been on this show for 4 months now telling them they don't play good enough. I mean, that's quite the revelation to figure out at this point in time. I think what was even funnier was one of the main reasons being Damian Lillard doesn't understand how he fit into that offense. Like, offense is the least of your problems, dude. I mean, you guys are 30-13 because all you do is play offense. So it was kind of crazy how this thing all came about. The team obviously knows they got the coach fired. Whether or not they play inspired now without him or not, I'm not sure. But I'll say this. If you're expecting an inspired effort tonight, you can combo that inspired effort with the fact that they just lost by 40 to this team 7 days ago. 135-95 Cavs. That's enough inspiration right there for Milwaukee. So they definitely, as far as situational play goes, step right in Bucks. However, the fundamentals do get in the way a little bit, right? And Cleveland has been on a defensive tear. I'll just read you real quick what JB Bickerstaff said about his team. He said, our defense has been incredible. Our guys have been elite at that end of the floor. We're fortunate that we have guys who are versatile and have guys who can guard multiple positions. Know that most of this that they've done over the 7-1 ATS string that Ronald pointed out, they've done it without Darius Garland and Evan Mobley for the most part. I mean, two key cogs that they're not even, they don't even have right now. So they've been really, really good. The Bucks are still going to be an offensive team. I agree with everything the guys said ahead of me that, coaching change isn't going to change their style. If they, but you know what? Skee, you're present, so I'll call him Glenn. If they bring Glenn in to be the head coach, I don't know where that changes anything as far as point production is concerned. They're still going to be the same type of team. Jared Allen has 12 straight double-doubles. For those of you that are playing props, I guess you want to try for 13 here, maybe. But last thing in closing real quick here, when they lost 135-95, Giannis wasn't involved in that game. He's involved tonight. So I think maybe the situational stuff does override the fundamental stuff, and I'd say you have to look Bucks.
Well, I would imagine that nobody gets fired unless Giannis approves, and Giannis goes, yeah, it ain't going to work. So, which is ironic because Giannis was the guy that actually gave the thumbs up and, gave him the vote of confidence before they hired him. So, boy, oh boy, did that relationship sour quickly. But they're going to go at it here tonight. I think it's going to be the most intriguing game of the night here. And we will have some best bets coming up. But I do want to remind you, in case you guys have noticed here on the screen down below, it is $5 Appreciation Wednesday. That's right. Customer appreciation. $5 daily play packages across the board for Ski Profit, as well as Ronald Kabang and Rob Vino. You can head over to their page right now, guys. Go get the best bets for $5. They'll tell you what's going on here coming up. But for $5, hell of a time for you to partner up here with these three guys. And we'll talk a little total here tonight when it comes to the NBA. And there is a game which I find fascinating that we have not seen this total move. And that's between Minnesota and the Washington Wizards. Now, what's ironic about this is because this thing has just been as stagnant around that 230 mark, maybe 229 and a half. We're talking about a Minnesota Timberwolves team that is certainly one of the better defensive squads, although you wouldn't know it after that last game against Charlotte. But they are taking on the Wizards, who, let's face it, are a hot mess, but they do run, Skee, a lot. Much like Charlotte, another hot mess, but they ran too and managed to put some points on the board. So it's confusing to me because you would think Minnesota is going to show up here tonight defensively, but I thought they'd have showed up defensively against Charlotte, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, the coach talked about at halftime. He told the guys they needed to play defense, and he didn't see any results either. But after the coach talked about it, and then Anthony Edwards, I saw him talking about it and saying that they need to step up defensively. That's how they get back to the winning ways and playing how they were playing earlier in the season. I think they should, but I also think the Wizards have been playing better defense too. If I look at the last 5 games, we think it's the Wizards as a bottom feeder defensively, but last 5 games they're just outside the top 10. So they've gone under 6 of their last 9 because of it. I think this one can be more of an under type game. So I don't think I would go over. It'll be under or nothing for me.
Let the record show, RC, that Skee is actually taking an under in a Wizards game. I'm fairly certain. We never thought that day would ever come, but yet here we are. How about for you, RC? Are you in agreement? Maybe, right, the numbers don't lie with the Wizards as of late, too. So the market seems to be coming down now. We're at least in the 220s. Are you buying it, though, or do you think that points are coming in this one?
Yeah, I agree with Skee here. I think this is more of an under type game. Obviously, the Wolves need to show up defensively here to come off to bounce back off of that loss. I mean, they talked about it. And Edwards talked about it in the post game interview. After Cat got hot real quick early in the first quarter, they were just force feeding him the ball and not really focusing in on the defensive side of the ball. And after the game, he mentioned, it was a mistake. They're gonna learn from it. And hopefully they do that today. And to me, I feel like it's one of those games where you have a Wizards team that plays really fast, the Wolves team that plays really slow. But I think when it comes from the spot, obviously the Wolves having to bounce back here, I think that kind of takes precedence in this one. They're going to come out with a lot more energy than we would normally expect them to do in a road double-digit type, game. So for me, I got to look towards the under in this one. This is actually the 3rd instance this season that the Wolves are coming off of a home loss, then heading out to become a road favorite the next game. Those 2 other instances earlier this season, they limited the Grizzlies to 97. They limited to the Rocks to 95. This was when the Grizzlies were fairly healthy. They had Desmond Bane and all those guys. They didn't have Ja at that time, but the Rockets were playing really well during this period when this happened for them, and they only scored 95 points. So for me, I think the Wolves do show up defensively. I think from a full total perspective, I think I would rather focus specifically on that Washington team and towards their team total under 109.5.
Oh, all right. Maybe even a team total up and under there here. Interesting spot here. I do want to thank Rob Charlotte for actually upending Minnesota because they then traded away just about everyone and gave Miami Rozier. So that was nice of them. But what are you thinking we're going to get here tonight from them? Because I don't know what's going to happen here with the Wizards. Are you buying they're a defensive squad? You, of all people, would be looking at the over here, wouldn't you?
Well, I think it's great that we had our first real Michael Malone throw your team under the bus rant, and it wasn't Michael Malone, it was Chris Finch, right? I mean, he absolutely shredded the basketball team after that game. So we have, the other team stealing Giannis's 64-point ball to wreck his moment, and then we have the head coach wrecking Karl Anthony Towns' 62-point performance, telling his team that they couldn't play any defense. And it didn't happen, guys, until the fourth quarter. And they're killing that team up until the fourth, where they just got very lackadaisical, get beat 36-18. Charlotte didn't stop playing. And remember, Charlotte, for the last, I don't know, I want to say 7 to 10 days, correct me if I'm wrong, but their head coach has been talking about how they're going to focus on defense. And they were real proud of their defensive effort in the fourth quarter. What do you make of that? Do you think it was because they really played any defense, or do you think it's because Minnesota was goofing off and threw a game away? I don't know, probably a little of both. I think that the Timberwolves are of a different mindset nowadays. They said so in a couple of quotes. Karl Anthony Towns, I think, said, moral victory of 62 points. That was cool when we were a 15-35 team. But now we're the number one seed in the West, and we can't go on and repeat a game like we had the other night defensively. So I think they'll come out fully focused on the defensive end, and they're a really good defensive team to start with. Put some numbers to it real quick. They've still been good. 6 of their last 10 games this month, they've held opponents to 105 or less. That kind of points to what Ronald was saying about Wizards team total under, which is a way I looked in this game at first. And then the Wizards offense this month, 6 out of 10 games, they've scored 109 or less. So all that stuff adds up to Wizards not getting to their number of 109.5. If they don't, then I think Minnesota's probably more focused defensively than they are offensively tonight. And the game probably stays under. I mean, Washington's so bad defensively, and like you and Skee said, the pace could be so good that maybe Minnesota makes a bunch of shots and gets over into the mid 120s, and the game gets over. So I think probably Wizards team total under is the best way to look here.
All right, there we go. Unanimous here. Some sort of under in that game here tonight. Not a bad look. All right. So we've got a big game breakdown here of sorts. We got the contrarian gods. We've got a total, and we've got a whole lot of dogs that could very well be barking here tonight. So, Robert, let's check out what's rolling here.
That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. And anybody got to say anything, you let me know. That's my dog.
All right, let's check them out here tonight. Spurs, the Grizz, Mavs, Hawks, Wizards, Cavs, Blazers, and the Magic all coming in as dogs here tonight. So, Skee, kick it off for us here, my man. Which one of these dogs might be barking for you?
Yeah, I like the ugly one, so I'll go with the biggest one on the board today in the Wizards plus 11. And, I understand that we've heard a lot of talk about they should be focused and et cetera for Minnesota. I got to see it first. This is a team who's covered 1 game out of 4 so far on the front end of a back-to-back. They're at a rest disadvantage versus Wizards team who, surprisingly, like I mentioned, is playing better defense lately than this Timberwolves team. So if they can continue to play good defense, and this is not the most important game on the Timberwolves schedule, they don't necessarily have to beat this team by double digits. I think the Wizards can keep this game respectable. So plus 11, a little bit too rich for these Timberwolves tonight.
I like it, man. Love it, love it. And you are absolutely correct. That is absolutely horrific on so many levels. RC, what are you thinking here, my man? We've got a couple of interesting dogs on this card here. Which one are you leaning towards?
I'm looking towards the Grizzlies here. This is also an ugly play, but the Heat, they've lost and failed to cover three straight, I believe, and they've stayed under their team total in 6 straight games. So their offense is really struggling right now. I mean, that's probably the reason why they picked up Terry, right, to pick up some offense. And also, I just really don't trust their offense without Jaime Jaquez Jr. also coming off of that bench. He's really been that guy to spur them in the second unit. Also, this is the first leg of back-to-back games with a more important game tomorrow with the Celtics. So I don't know if the Heat are going to be fully focused. They could take this game to try to put things together with Terry. I don't know I know he's available to play, but not sure if he's in the start or anything like that. Also, the Heat at home, they win games there, but they tend to struggle to cover games this season at home when they're favored by more than 4 points. They're only 2-6 against the spread. To me, I also think that the books are still continuing to over-adjust for the Grizzlies because of their current situation. If you look at the last 10 games, the Grizzlies actually have a better net rating than the Heat do, which is surprising to me with how bad the Grizzlies looked the last 10 games. So to me, I think the Grizzlies might have enough defense to keep this one close. I know the market is moving in the opposite direction, probably because of the Terry news that he's going to be available. But the look ahead potential, sloppiness offensively with pulling in Terry, I think the plus 10.5 or plus 11 or whatever it might be now might be the way to go.
All right. Looking at fading Miami here tonight, taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. Rob Vino, come on, man. That Orlando Magic sitting right there at +2 with your name on it. What are you thinking here, man?
No way, man. We're going to take the 3 ugliest dogs on the board and make it a sweep and play a 3-team parlay there. And, Joe, this is why you come on the day before and you tout a team from Houston, because you never know what the next day is going to bring. And I'm going to go against the Rockets here. The Blazers plus 10.5 to me in a back-to-back situation. Probably just a little bit too much for the way Houston's playing right now. The Rockets 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games. We talked about they haven't been good defensively. Their home scoring margin for a while was up to double digits, and it's all the way down to only plus 6.5 at home. Now, earlier in December, they were laying 9, laying 8.5, laying 9.5, and covering these games, but not recently. I mean, they've only had one opportunity to do it. It was against Detroit, and it was an away game, laid 9, and barely won that game by 2. For Portland, you would worry a little bit. Chauncey Billups was very upset last night after that Oklahoma City loss. Thought he got a timeout call. They didn't give it to him. But they've been good back-to-back. They're actually 4-3 straight up in back-to-back games, 5-2 against the spread. The score differential in those games is only -1. Here they're getting 10.5. And if you narrow it down to back-to-back with travel, they're still 2-1 straight up, 2-1 against the spread, only -3.7 scoring differential. So not that the Rockets can't win the game, because they probably should. They're a 10.5-point favorite, but I think it's too steep. And the way they've been playing defense lately, I think I pointed this out last week, how many points they've been giving up even since Dillon Brooks came back. You could counter that argument by saying those are really good offensive teams. That is true. But I still don't think they make it to covering 10.5 here tonight. So give me Portland, a team that's played a little bit better over the course of their last 4 games. So if we're going to use Skee's formula of last 5, I guess Portland last 5 is what intrigues me here. I'll take them plus 10.5.
All right. That is 3 absolutely horrific dogs, gentlemen. I am very impressed. Congratulations there. But now it is time to talk some best bets. And before we get there, guys, don't forget, make sure you hit that like button if you're joining us live here on the broadcast. If you're catching the replay and this is the first time you've joined us, hit that subscribe button, become part of the WagerTalk TV family. Don't forget, though, it is $5 customer appreciation today, Wednesday only. $5 best bets site-wide, guys. You can go visit Skee Profits page, as well as Ronald Kabang or Rob Vino, or all 3. Go grab them. $5, guys. That's the way to roll here tonight. In the meantime, we throw 60 seconds on the clock. Let these guys do whatever the hell they want. But Skee, tell me, man, which one of these games here tonight do you like the most for a best bet?
I will look at Memphis and Miami, and I'll go to the total. I'll look at the under here. I know they get Terry Rozier available to make his debut over there, but, I mean, Miami has gone under in 6 straight. I don't think him in his first game in this uniform is going to be enough to change the way that they've been playing. And if I look at how both of these teams have been playing last 5 games, both bottom 10 in pace, bottom 3 offensive rated teams, and top 10 defensive rated teams. So if you add those things all together, you get a lower scoring game tonight. This is also a Grizzlies team who's the worst 3-point shooting team in the league. So I just don't see a lot of opportunity for too many points in this game. Under, best number you can get right now is 214.5, but consensus is 214. So that'll be my play for best bet.
Oh, I like it. I like it going under here in this one. Well, I mean, not like Miami can struggle to get to 90, so wouldn't shock me in the least bit there. RC, come on, man. You gave us some ugly. Now give us something that we can gather around here for a best bet, man. Where are you looking?
Yeah, I'm looking at the Thunder and the Spurs game here. The Thunder have gone over their team total in every instance this season playing on the second leg of back-to-back games. I think that kind of shows their youthful and deep roster that they have there. The Spurs also are at home. They struggle defensively at home. Opponents 15-4 to their team total over in San Antonio. The Spurs allowing 123.1 points per game on the season. But when I look at these higher totals, I looked at home when the total is above 238. Spurs allowing 133.8 points per game, 6-game sample size. None of those teams went under 125, which happens to be the team total for the Thunder here. Both teams top 7 in pace on the season. To me, this seems like a track meet back and forth. I think both of these teams are going to be flying up and down the court. Give me the Thunder to go up and over their team total 125.
Ooh, all right. Up and over in that one there. Love it. That means Rob Vino. You get the final word here, my man. 60 seconds. Which one of these games are you looking at for a best bet?
Well, let's go to Phoenix at Dallas. Phoenix, Dallas, and I didn't send this best bet into the show, Joe, until maybe like 10 minutes before it started. And the game total was 240.5. Between that time and the time we signed on, it went up to 242, which only indicates that a lot of the question marks for Dallas are now going to play. You had to figure Kyrie and Luka were going to play. Dante Exum might get out there. There were 4 question marks. If you get any combination of 2 or better, especially Luka and Kyrie with the sprained thumb, which I guess x-rays were negative on that, have to feel like they're going to be good scoring offensively. Phoenix has been tremendous on the offensive end. They've shot 49.5% better for 7 straight games now. The big 3 looking pretty fluid. Dallas giving up 118 plus in 6 straight games. Both of these teams can score. The first time they played on Christmas Day, it hit 242. I think you'll probably see higher than that in an offensive showcase tonight. So give me over the new number of 242, Phoenix at Dallas.
Oh, I like it. All right, there you go here, guys. A little something for everyone here tonight. Just to recap, we're going to be looking at that team total over for the Thunder, 125 for Ronald Kabang, under in Miami and Memphis at 214 there. And I believe, and that's a wrong graphic, but we'll have that. You guys just trust me, it's under. Skee would never bet an over in this spot here ever. Phoenix, Dallas over 240.5 for one. Rob Vino in Dallas and Phoenix. And don't forget, $5. That's right. We got $5 best bets right now across the board at WagerTalk.com. Visit Rob Vino's page right now. Head over to Skee Profits page. Get Ronald Kabang's $5 best bets, guys. Partner up with him. It does not get any better than $5 Customer Appreciation Day. And that is what we've got rolling here. Or just visit right now, wagertalk.com/picks. Take advantage, guys. Go grab those bets. Let's make it a profitable Wednesday. We'll do it again tomorrow in the NBA as we've got another slate of action. But until then, go ahead and click on that video on your screen right now as we've got many, many, many more videos featuring some of the best matchups coming up throughout the week here. Check them out and come back and check us out again tomorrow. Best of luck with your plays. We'll talk to you again soon.